Welcome back, everybody, to Tips College Football Recruiting Update. And today we're going to talk about Julian Rochester, the big defensive tackle out of Powder Springs, Georgia, McEachern High School. And I'm kind of sticking with the trend I started last week of looking at these defensive tackle prospects film and reviewing them. And you can see right there the first play on his film, Rochester comes off the edge, beats the tackle with an inside move, and makes the sack on the quarterback. And you can obviously see just from the first couple of plays on his film that he's a very disruptive player. You know, his size, 6'5", 315, is perfect size for a defensive tackle. That's the NFL type defensive tackle that you want. You know, in the SEC, you wonder why defensive lines and defenses are so dominant. It's because of players like Rochester with that kind of size. And, you know, if I could think of a player to compare him to that as I watch his film, I'm sitting here thinking, the first guy that comes to mind is Timmy Jernigan, defensive tackle out of Florida State that now plays for the Baltimore Ravens. And as you'll see in this film, Rochester plays a lot of end for McEachern High School, and I think that's not necessarily a preview of what's to come in college. I think he's going to be more on the inside. A 3 technique is where I think he'll end up. But I think he has the athleticism to play in a 5 technique at end. But like I said, with his size and speed and strength, I would definitely expect him to end up on the inside and be a disruptive force there. Now, I want to talk about some of the schools that Rochester is considering. And the first one I want to talk about is Auburn. Rochester has recently named Auburn a leader multiple times. Auburn's kind of been the school that's been at the top for him since he's started doing interviews, but some other schools have come into the picture. He actually released a top 5 or top 6 not that long ago that also included schools like Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Florida State, and Clemson. And he's visited all those schools. He comes back and talks about how great the visits went. And we'll start with Georgia as the home state school. You know, this is a school that he really has considered, but not considered in a sense. And he recently visited Georgia for their junior day and came away extremely impressed and said it would be hard to top what he saw there. And he's definitely has the Georgia Bulldogs as a player moving forward here in his top group. Now, some other schools, Clemson, he's also loves what they do over there at Clemson, and you can see why with players like Grady Jarrett, Vic Beasley, players that are both going to play in the NFL and be high draft picks. But also, you got to look at Florida State, Alabama. Alabama seems to be the school that's always in the running for these type of recruits. But in the end, I think it's going to come down to Auburn and Georgia. You know, Auburn's established a relationship with him, and he's had them on top for a while now. But then you have Georgia recently moving into the picture after the junior day visit. And so I think going forward, those are the 2 schools to watch. On 24/7's Crystal Ball prediction, right now, Rochester leads with 89% of the votes. Georgia has the other 11% of the votes. And I also didn't mention earlier, Rochester is the 23rd ranked overall player in the 24/7 composite for 2016. He's the number 6 defensive tackle and number 2 in the state of Georgia behind Derek Brown, who next week you might want to look for a video on Derek Brown because I've been watching this film and I really like what he sees. But, you know, I'm talking about Rochester now, and as I keep watching this film, he just continues to make plays in the backfield. You know, I love what he does with his leverage. His leverage is great at this level, and he does a good job of reading the offensive linemen. And, you know, just wherever he goes, he's only going to get bigger. He's not going to lose any of that athleticism. And I would totally expect Julian Rochester to be an all-SEC, all-American type of player. And if you look at pictures of him, he's physically ready now. He looks like he's 40 years old. But, you know, he's a grown man, and he's going to go play college ball somewhere big and be good. And it would not shock me to see him be a first-round draft pick or even a top 10 type draft pick. And that's all the time I have for today. Like I said, next week, be sure to be on the lookout for a video on possibly Derek Brown, defensive tackle out of Lanier High School in Georgia. So don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Twitter at FNSF_tip.